You're watching Soulful Discussions.
All right, so hi, welcome back.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. First of all, thoughts about the interview as you're going on. Before we even get there, during the time we were doing the interview, what were the thoughts that were going through your mind? Like, when I initially approached you, I'm like, hey, want to do an interview? And then, like, during the interview, what were the thoughts?
Well, I remember I was very confused because when you said feet, I was thinking of feet, F-E-A-T.
Yeah.
And so the whole time my mind was stuck on that.
Uh-huh.
And I think like with all the current events that was happening, that was also really stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm so sorry you had to explain to me,
good.
like, no, feet, F-E-E-T. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, I was definitely confused at first, but then, you know, you made that clear to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to talk about feet.
There
now.
it is. So once we started talking about that, and the conversation started kind of going along, what were your thoughts as we were like kind of just like having a discussion?
I was really interested because I've never, like, you know, like feet in general has always been a taboo subject. So it's like, it was interesting to talk about something that I've never talked about or it's never come up in any conversations I've ever had before. Yeah. So yeah, it was you know, I'm back. I'm interested to keep talking about it.
Absolutely. So after the interview, I mean, you had a chance to go home. What did you think after that experience that took place? What were you thinking during that time in between before your interview dropped? Like, what were you thinking?
I definitely thought more about, you know, actually looking down and like
self-care.
Observing my feet. Yeah, and self-care a little more. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it kind of, and I get that with a lot of women. They're like, hey, you know, because of you like coming into like, you know, my life at that point in time and having that discussion, that was something I wasn't thinking about before. So, but now I'm like a little bit more conscious about it. Like, I actually had a friend who was on the channel who came through, and for a long time she was like, she has insecurities about her feet, like major insecurities, and she was like, she would sometimes hide her feet, like when she knew that they weren't done, like I'm just gonna wear these types of shoes, whatever. And she's like, after my interview with you, now I'm like, well, you know what? I'll just go natural, and I don't have to worry about like my feet looking bad or whatever like that. So I was like, I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm like on the opposite spectrum where I'm, you know, born and raised by the beach and lived here my whole life. I've always worn my rainbow sandals. I mean, if you look at them, they're 12 years old.
Yeah, you were just telling me about these. You said they're 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like been rocking them and being like, you know.
Yeah, but like, you know, like I just never look down. I never even think about my feet. And then I don't even think that other people might be looking at my feet. So it's interesting, like, I'm like, oh, I should pay attention to my feet more, you know, like take time out of my busy day and like think about myself instead of always thinking about work, always thinking about what I'm doing after work and, you know, going to the gym.
Kind of a form of like grounding yourself in a way almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's actually a lady on my channel who she suffers from, it's a neurological thing that like impacts her to the point like she has like almost like mini seizures. Oh. And during those moments, the first thing that she says that happens is like, so her knees kind of go weak, and the first thing she looks down at is her feet. So she's like, for her, because she had to deal with that, like self-care in terms of that became something that was really big for her, because she's like, that's the first thing I see. So when I have an episode or something like that, first thing I'm looking down at is my feet. Yeah. And so like, I want to, in that moment, at least feel like good about the fact that, okay, hey, like they're taken care of. I'm making sure that they're nice. So yeah, absolutely. Like we all have our own things, but definitely glad that you were able to get something out of that. In terms of the interview, like, so you had a chance to watch it. Okay, thoughts afterwards. You had a chance to watch it. You read some of the comments. What were your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I read all of the comments. I was just waiting for someone to say like, ew, her feet are ugly, or waiting for someone to be like, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about. But you know what, like in general, all the comments were really nice and that made me really happy. And someone mentioned that I should go back and talk about that poem that I ended the interview with last time. So I am prepared to tell you the 2 lines of that poem.
Let's end with that though. So cause let's save it for the end.
I like that. Okay.
And I'll get you to like kind of go through it. That way we have a little bit of time to do that. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So what I'm gonna do now, we're gonna kind of talk about some of the questions I had during my first set of interviews. I'm gonna ask those to you. Feel free to answer however you like. This is like however you're feeling in the moment. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So let's start with the first question. Okay. In terms of, hold on, I make sure I bring it back because it's been a while since I've done it, and I'm doing it all off the top of my head. Oh, here we go. What's something you like that other people might find to be weird?
Does that be feet related or?
Oh, so it
general?
could be maybe a hobby you have, maybe a way you eat your food. Like some people eat mustard on their French fries, or mustard on pizza.
When I eat candy, I separate all the colors.
Oh, okay.
So like if I'm eating Skittles or anything or Starburst, I don't like how Starburst, you know how it's stacked in different flavors at a time?
Yeah.
I'll open up the packages and then I'll separate all the colors and then eat that. Like I don't like taking when I see people eat a handful of Skittles and plop it in their mouth or like Sour Patch Kids, I'm just like, how do you enjoy the flavor if you're just mashing it all together?
Yeah.
I'm like the type of person, I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat all the greens. Greens are my favorite.
Yeah.
Greens first, and like, I like to separate things like that. I don't know, maybe I'm OCD.
No, and I think so we had this conversation come up at my job where we were talking about when you pick a drink, right? What do you go based on? And like this one girl kept saying, I go based on flavor, and I'm like, mostly everybody goes based on color, like because the color makes them feel something, right? So like for me, red, like if I see like a red flavor color, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like that. I try to like line that up with things that I do like, right? So she was like, nah, I'm going based on flavor, and I was like, what flavor is any good? You never know. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah, for you, like going with greens because like
it's my favorite.
Yeah,
if I get full, then at least I know I ate all my favorite ones.
You ate all
first.
Your favorite ones. There it is.
I don't save the best for last. I take
do
the
it
best
right
first.
away. I love it. In terms of in life, is there anyone who's ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part before? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, my dad.
Okay.
So growing up, my dad constantly said, "You're gonna get fat. You're gonna get fat. You're gonna get fat," and like my whole life was based on like making sure I'm eating the right thing, making sure I'm exercising, and like he definitely every time we go shopping for school, he'd make me buy one size larger because he kept convincing himself and me that I was gonna all of a sudden gain a lot of weight. And so like that was definitely something I felt insecure about growing up.
And that's interesting because usually for most women who I interview, when they say something like that, it's usually the mom.
I know.
Who's the one that's like very critical and like that, but it's your dad. That's shocking. Like,
well, my dad's a marathon runner, so he's like 70-something years old and running marathons. Like I've never even ran more than 5 miles in my life. So
no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like running's not for me. But no, my dad's like skinny, athletic. He still does pull-ups. He's 70 years old and he's doing pull-ups still.
Yeah, he's out here, man, Mr. Fitness.
Yeah, exactly. So like, if anyone's ever made me feel insecure,
it's him.
Oh yeah.
So now, in terms of that, right? Is that something that you still deal with, or is it something kind of more like doesn't bother me as much anymore because you're like maybe more confident in yourself?
Both actually.
Okay.
I do still weigh myself, and so like if I notice that I've gained more than 2 pounds, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go work out,
Wow,
or
so
I need to
it's
eat
still
healthy.
in there, okay.
It's still in there. I don't take it to the extreme level where I'm like, oh my gosh, I look off. I don't want anyone to see me. Like I don't take it to that level, but like I'm so self-conscious about weight gain that if I see it happening, then I take action right away.
That's okay. All right. In terms of like if you could change something, right, about yourself, right? Is there anything you would change? And it doesn't have to be physical, it could be anything. Is there anything you would change? Or do you kind of already feel like, nah, I'm content with where I'm at right now?
That's a good question. I wish I had longer legs. Does that count?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I have I'm not self-conscious about this, by the way, but I have a extra long torso.
Yeah.
So when I sit down next to a 6-foot guy, and I used to do this all the time with my coworkers, it would be the icebreaker. This would be my fun fact I'd share with everyone at work on my first day. I would say, when I sit next to a 6-foot guy, I'm the same height.
I love it. We're the same height.
Yeah, but only when I'm sitting down.
I'm sitting down.
So it's nice because when we're all like sitting in a conference room, I'm like the same height as all the guys. But as soon as I stand up next to them, I'm like, ooh, back to being 5'4".
That's interesting because like, so I'm the opposite. Like I have very long legs.
Yeah.
Like so from like my waist down, very long.
Yeah.
But then like I'm a little bit smaller up here towards the top. So when I sit down,
Yeah.
sometimes it can look like I'm, shorter or maybe
Yeah.
the same height.
Yeah.
Then I stand up and then people are like, oh, okay.
You know, it's my youngest sister's exact opposite of me.
Yeah.
So if only I had her long legs, like we'd both be 6 foot tall. Probably.
Oh wow.
Just a short torso, but this long legs. But when we stand next to each other, we're the same height.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Absolutely. In terms of, so we talked a little bit about how the first time, how you felt about your feet, right? For some of the people who maybe didn't see the first one, what are your thoughts about them? How do you feel about them?
I mean, in general, I've never really paid too much attention to my feet. I'm like the type of person that's always on the go. Like, I'm constantly thinking about like the next 10 things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I plan my day out like that. And it drives a lot of people crazy. But like, I'm so hyper,
Yeah.
ADD, I don't know what it is, where I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, then I gotta do this. Like, for example, after this interview, I'm meeting someone at the beach at 2, then I'm meeting someone at happy hour at 5.
Oh, so you already planned it all out.
I planned this whole day out. So like, I'm so like, that I like don't, people say I have like this like no chillness about me, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, that's interesting because I got the complete opposite from you. Like when we did the interview and everything, you seemed like a very like laid back and just like kind of cool person. Like if I met you just randomly somewhere, I feel like I think we would have like a good conversation, like or whatever like that. And I didn't feel that. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of like compliments you get, right? So from men and women, do you prefer to get a compliment more from a woman?
Definitely from women.
From women. Why is that?
Because I think it's like when guys give compliments, it's usually like I feel like, oh, are they hitting on me? Like what? Is what's happening? And then also like women don't really come out of their shell to give compliments. So when it's very rare. So when you do get a compliment from them, you're like, oh, like it makes me feel extra special. Like like they say that women dress up and do their hair and put on makeup, not for guys, but actually because they want to look good for other women. And so, I think I fit that bill too. Like when I go to the gym, I don't care. I'm like, whatever. But if I'm going out with my girlfriends for happy hour, I always do put on makeup. I always wear a cute dress,
That's dope, man. And that's usually the answer I get mostly. I think there's only been a couple of rare occasions where I've had from a woman, she's like, prefer to get it from a man. It's like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, but it's usually because I guess they are like, in those moments, they prefer it from a man because they're interested in guys. So I guess they like the validation that they can get from that. Yeah. And so, but I'm always interested because to me, it's maybe more about like 9 out of 10 women say women, and then maybe that 1 out of 10 say men. Interesting. Very interesting. So let's kind of get back into this, right? Can we see what your feet look like again?
Sure.
Because we just went and got this pedicure. So first of all, before we kind of look at that,
realize they put some sort of foot mask on.
Oh yeah, so it's like they use wax and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so shiny.
So before we actually take a look, first of all, thoughts about this pedicure experience, right? Because I don't know how many pedicures you've had in your life or whatever, but is this one of like the top ones?
Yeah, it was really nice. I get them like every time. So like maybe something else to dive into. I get my feet done only when I'm going to a wedding or if I'm going.
We talked about that.
Yeah, for a special occasion or something like that. So yeah, it was really nice to get my feet done just to look nice.
Yeah. I mean, and then you're going to the beach after, so already ready. You want to go the toes in the sand?
I'm ready.
Good to go. So you went with the French tip. What was the reason behind that?
I feel like the French tips always look clean. And when you do French tips, as your nails grow out, you can't tell because the bottom part is clear. Yeah. So like as your nail grows out, like you could keep clipping the top of it, but you can't see like how long ago you got your nails done.
That's pretty dope. I never thought about that. Yeah, because like if you get all white, of course you can start to tell like, okay, you had that for like maybe a week or 2, whatever. Exactly. Like that. So yeah, with this one, clear at the bottom, so you can't see as much. Absolutely. All right. So and if I remember correctly, you said 7.5 is the size you wear. Does that vary depending on shoes or?
No, for the most part, it's just 7.5.
in that range. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. So let me get you. Let's leave your feet flat like that first, and we're just gonna take a look at the tops real quick. Pull this back a little bit.
My feet are shiny.
Oh, that's great. Like that means that they buffed and polished those things, and hopefully you're happy with it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, and we talked about this before, that Egyptian toe alignment you have, where it's just like a perfect curve. It kind of goes big to small, going back around. Did any research into that or anything like that after we talked about it?
No, I don't even know. I don't even remember talking about that.
Yeah, Egyptian toe alignment. Yeah, so Egyptian and the Grecian toe alignment. So second toe is
sorry.
bigger.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now I remember. Okay.
yeah. So you have that Egyptian toe alignment. So that's pretty good.
And my sister is the opposite. Her second toe is just.
You guys are opposites in so many ways.
I know. It's crazy.
Interesting. All right, let me get you put your feet out straight like this. All right, cool. All right. And so how you feeling? So now we're out here. This is the second time. First time was kind of like I caught you by surprise. You didn't have no pedicure or anything like that. Now we're back out here again. Thoughts, feelings, what's going on?
I don't know if I have any thoughts. I'm happy to.
So you're just enjoying the experience?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the experience. I'm happy to talk about something that I don't normally talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. And I always pursue those interesting activities or moments.
Something
or
that's different than the norm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you this. So after the interview came out, did you share that information with anybody? Did you let anybody take a look at it, share the link with anybody?
No, I haven't actually. Mostly because I felt like such an idiot at the very beginning of the interview where
You're
felt
fine.
Like such an idiot. But maybe this one is going way better.
Okay, there it is. So here's what I'm gonna have you do. I usually do this where I give you the camera.
Okay.
And I have you take a look at your own feet from that aspect to see what are we seeing here? Is there anything that you notice? Maybe things that are look nice to you or whatever like that. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
Cool. All right, cool. Let me have that to you. There you go. And so just tell me what you're seeing here, while you're kind of taking a look at your own feet and we're looking at it with you. What are we seeing? Anything stands out to you? Anything that you like? Maybe I didn't notice that before. I mean, even though I know they are your feet and you look at them quite often, but anything else you're noticing?
No, I'm just really pleased of how my feet look with the pedicure.
Nice. How long has it been since you had a French?
Ooh, good question. Probably the last wedding I've been to, which was a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually go with really colorful colors if I'm doing my own nails, but if I'm getting a pedicure or anything like that, then I usually go with this because it's mostly for special occasions.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, and because the last time I saw you had, it was a bluish color, right? Almost like a purplish blue.
Yeah.
Like periwinkle, maybe.
Yep.
All right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like you said, you were going somewhere, so I think you were traveling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
right? So,
I got it in Argentina.
Absolutely. That's dope. You got any plans to go traveling soon, anywhere else, or you kind of staying put for now?
So I actually. Yesterday I was looking up flights, and so I'm either thinking of going to Thailand at the end of this year. So it's either Thailand or Brazil. I really want to do a river cruise in the Amazon in the Amazon rainforest. Or Peru. But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah,
Flights
you're a jet setter, man. You out here making moves, man.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap here. I want you to go ahead and we'll do that poem right now, so that you can go ahead and leave that for the one person who was like, hey, I want to hear about that, because I actually want to hear it too, because I thought it was really dope where you were starting off at. Mm-hmm. So let's kind of get you to get back into that, and we'll
thank you, that one person. That's amazing. I really do love that poem. I wish I loved it enough to remember all the lines. I think I'm gonna get a tattoo of it on my arm. So
there it is.
Oh no, my phone overheated.
Did it really?
iPhone needs to cool down.
Oh no, this is terrible.
Is your phone
let me do this.
fire?
I'll record from this one, and then what I can do is I can cut from here.
Okay.
And then we can look up
you that was gonna happen, and then
And you're actually in the shade too. Like, that's interesting.
Oh.
All right. And what's the name of it?
Invictus. Invictus.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I am the master of my fate, captain of my soul. I believe.
William Ernest, right?
Yes.
Here you go.
It's the last 2 lines of the poem.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know when to go.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Oh. Okay. So the last 2 lines of the poem is absolutely my favorite, and it stuck with me my whole life. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Absolutely. And I tend to use that sometimes in life. You always hear about, things having to be like fate. It's supposed to go this way. And it's like, dude, I feel as though like I control like what it is I choose to do and where I end up at. And like, I have more control of that than what people may think. So I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you going ahead. We're going to shoot a little bit more, but we're done with this part. Anything you want to say to everybody?
No, thank you, and I enjoy reading all the comments, so keep it up.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.